Yo, what's up, guys? It's the Realist Rantman YouTube channel here, and I'm back with another video. And today I'm going to be talking about, well, it's been a lot on my mind recently, comparing yourself to others. You know, like, one of the most painful things in this world is feeling like that you ain't good enough. You know, that when you compare yourself to other people, or you see the amount of suffering they've been through and you feel like the suffering that you've been through isn't actual suffering, and that you're just overly sensitive, or you just need to man up or woman up, I guess, if that's a real thing. And I feel that a lot recently. Like, I don't know, I don't know if it was yesterday. I think it was the day, was it the night before? I think it might have been the night before yesterday, and I just remembered hearing some of the people on my old mates, my old mates, Steve Brown's Discord, right? And I hear some of the stories they go through, right? And they're probably going to see this, which is fine, you know. They're all good. We're all good, you know. I just feel like I need to get off my chest, you know. And I feel like I ain't got a reason to complain. Like, I feel so guilty. Like, I'm complaining over nothing. You know what I mean? I don't really feel that way as much now, but yesterday and the day before I do. Because I always can't help but compare myself to others. You know, like trying to, like, do you know what I mean? It's like I want to be a victim. Well, I don't want to be a victim. No one wants to be a victim. Like, that's like low horse shit. I mean, technically, even when you paint yourself with it, you're trying to get something out of it. So technically, that wouldn't make you a victim then, if that makes sense. But I don't know. I don't know. Like, do you know what I mean? Why do I feel so much guilt for feeling the way I do? Why do I feel so much? Why do I feel so much guilt for being angry at my parents? Why do I feel so much guilt for feeling like I haven't gone through enough to justify my feelings towards humanity? You know, I constantly feel I constantly feel that I'm just overreacting, that all the things I've gone through in the past haven't been enough to justify me having trauma. You know, that I'm not traumatized, and that I'm just weak. I'm a weak, pathetic man, and that I'm cowardly and I'm spineless. You know what I mean? And I was thinking about this 2 nights ago, and I remember well, it's day right now, but it's going to sunset in like an hour or so. And I remember just sitting there in bed, you know, typing away on my Discord, right? You know, I mean, people were being supportive. It's not like these people were being arseholes. They weren't, you know. And like, regardless of what I've been through, it ain't gonna stop me from being an anti-natalist. It ain't gonna stop me from uploading content. It isn't gonna stop me doing anything. I'm still an anti-natalist. I'm still black pilled. I'm still etc. Right? Because I don't think, I don't know. Maybe I'm just too awakened. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe I've awokened and it's scary, and I found it very scary because I've been lied to my whole life. You know, my mum has told me that she's a single mother, so it's a shock that she's a piece of shit, right? And I hate her, I really do. She gave me crooked teeth because she didn't get me out in the sun enough and didn't get me enough vitamin D. And I've heard lack of vitamin D can cause your kids to end up having poor jaw development, and then you end up getting bad teeth and end up breathing through your mouth, which is exactly what happened. because I remember breathing through my mouth a lot. I still do that now sometimes because of my mum, because of the way she brought me up, because of the poor jaw development, because she didn't feed me a proper diet, and I didn't get enough. I didn't get enough vitamin D in my diet. I didn't get out in the sun, get enough vitamin D3. She completely fucked my health up, the cow, you know, and then just put a bunch of labels on me and told me I couldn't do anything my whole life because I'm autistic. And you know, and then when I tried to get into things, she would just, when I tried to get into like sports and things like that, and I quit after like 2 or 3 goes because I couldn't stick to anything. She would still, she would still, she would still like shame me and say, why can't you stick to anything? You know, even if I tried something new and I just didn't like it, she'd always shame me. She'd always say, why can't you stick to anything? I remember going around my nan's. My mum would always try and would force me around my nan's. And my nan would say the exact same thing. They would always, it felt like I was being mobbed up on. You know, they'd always say that I'm out of shape and all this stuff. They'd always constantly say that, which isn't a bad thing to say if your kid is actually out of shape. But I was a healthy weight anyway. You know, I wasn't like unhealthy. I wasn't severely underweight or overweight as a kid. But they, you know, I remember my nan and my mum, they'd always say, oh, you can't dress like that. You look like a pikey. You know what I mean? It's like I couldn't express myself how I wanted, right? It's like I had to be a certain way. And yet, all for what? And she said, oh, I don't want you to look bad. I don't want you to look bad. I don't want to embarrass myself. I don't want the family to complain. It's like she would put her own ego and her own pride over my own mental well-being. And yet she just throw a bunch of labels on me saying I'm autistic. The reason why I can't climb a rope is because I'm too weak, because that means I'm autistic. Or the reasons why I fart so much isn't because of the poor diet she's feeding me, but because I'm autistic. And people with autism apparently have issues with their gut or something bullshit like that. And she wouldn't even research any of this stuff from what I remember. She would just throw labels and shit. It's like, you're this, you're that. Used to piss me the fuck off. You know, used to make me feel so worthless inside. That's why I fucking hate my mum. I literally cannot stand her. Just so retarded. So, she just didn't teach me anything. So neglectful. How can someone be so overprotective yet so neglectful? Like, I literally, my mum wouldn't even let me leave the house. My mum literally, each time my mum left the house, right, like for a few hours, right, to go around my nan's or to go around her aunties to celebrate one of their birthdays or something, like a family event, basically. She would always take me with her. Even when I was 16, she said that I couldn't be trusted to be on my own, even though I could, because my dad let me be on the house on my own when I was 13. Perfectly fine. Even told her that. Still, no, I can't trust you. I fucking hate her. Like, literally. My dad's a prick, and I hate my dad as well, because he put me in this world. But at least he's actually trying to get me driving. Even if I don't like the bell end, and he still put me in this world without my consent, at least he actually is putting doing a tiny bit of good. Not good enough, but good something. My mum did kind of get me into assisted living, to be honest. But I think but then again, I wouldn't need to be put in assisted living. If she taught me about the real world, I wouldn't have had this problem. I mean, my dad's says stuff, but his advice is shit because he's a boomer cuck who lives back in the 1960s, right? But yeah, like the lack of self-esteem that I had growing up, which is kind of what I'm getting onto. Because my mum was constantly anxious and worried that I was going to get hurt all the time, was constantly overprotective, saying I couldn't do this, couldn't do that. I need to be told multiple times to get things because I'm too stubborn, apparently, according to her. Even now, according to what she said even a few days ago, because my dad told me the texts that my mum sent him because I don't answer my mum anymore. I can't stand her. She even now says that you need to tell him to do this. This is how he gets this place. This is how he gets to that place. I'm like, love, I know. Like, my dad even told her, and she said, please remind him. I'm like, you don't need to remind me. Why is she... And that's another thing. The reason why she did that is because she wanted to make sure I go to therapy. I don't need fucking therapy, love. It's fucking shit. You just stay in a room with this woman who just stares you into your eyes. I'm like looking in this bitch's eyes, getting a fucking boner, thinking, bro, are you gonna fucking sit on my lap and fucking suck me off? Or are you actually gonna give me actual fucking answers? Because you're gonna sit there and stand me, you can fuck off. But guess what? If I don't get a fucking therapist, I'll be forced to work as quickly as possible, and I don't want that shit. Like, the therapy is basically just what's stopping me from actually getting a job right now, which is what I want, because I don't want to fucking get a job. I want to be a NEET as long as possible. Not like in the long term that's possible anyway. You know, once I move out, I'll probably have to get a job within a few weeks. Once I settle in, of course. But yeah, all this lack of direction that I've had in life, the parents that haven't taught me anything, especially my mum, has led me to have very low self-esteem, not really know who I am. So then I look to others and I compare myself to others. You know, even compare myself to others suffering, because it's almost like, I don't know, it's confusing, man. Like, I don't know. It's like I want to be a victim, but then no one wants to be. Do you know what I mean? It's confusing as fuck, man. It's like, I think it's just because I just want to relate to people. I just don't want to feel left out. You know what I mean? I don't want to feel like I'm going to die alone. You know, I don't like people for the most part, but I don't think I could spend the rest of my life on my own. I couldn't do it, you know. I want to live on my own. But yeah, but like when I'm comparing myself to all what these other people have suffered through on Steve Brown's Discord, I feel so like, oh, fucking hell. I feel like I'm just overreacting. I feel like I'm just being a pussy. You know what I mean? But yeah, I suppose I've had it worse than most normies. I mean, I got badly bullied. That fucked me over massively. I mean, I have two different people that I spoke to about it a couple of years later that both were in the situations that I was dealing with. One of them said that they were just joking, and then another one said that they treated you like shit. But the kid that told me, the friend that I had that told me that they were joking, was friends with them as well. So it's like, you know what I mean? I mean, I personally felt like they bullied me. Like when they said stuff about me and spread rumors about me in the classroom and all grouped up on me and all laughed at me and, you know, and said you're this, you're that. I remember coming home crying, punching a hole in a wall at times, you know, having nightmares of killing them in their sleep, getting intrusive thoughts about hurting them, you know. And, you know, when I mean, really, I started comparing myself to other people. You know, back when I was a kid, because, you know, I was always constantly compared to all these guys in my class that were all getting all the hot chicks, and I couldn't get them because these guys in the classroom would just go up to these random girls and say, her Tom fancies you, and these girls would harshly reject me and say, ew, oh no, he's ugly. You know, and, you know, I was once seen with my mum in Asda, which is a British supermarket if you're American or any other country that isn't in the UK, right? And they said, oh my God, have you seen Tom's mum? She's so fit that you think he never came out of sight of her. Basically saying that I'm ugly and that I'm ugly compared to her, basically. And they shouted across the classroom in front of all the hot chicks that I had crushes on. And it fucking sucked. And they did it multiple times. You know, and obviously I didn't do anything because I was too much of a pussy to stick up for myself. You know, and then I'll just come home and jerk off 3 or 4 times a day, you know, because I felt so insignificant and ugly in the inside. I felt so weak and pathetic and cowardly and just not enough of a man that I'd just come home and jerk off 3 or 4 times a day. It got to the point where I could only watch cartoon porn at one point. It really fucked me up. I should probably try no fap, to be honest. I think it's a bit overrated, but I probably should try it out. At least for like a couple of weeks or so. But yeah, like when it comes to comparing yourself, it just makes you feel so shit. But you can't help it because you want to be, you know, you want to be the top dog. You just want validation, and in this world, it's so hard to get that because you have parents that don't teach you anything or that just don't get you in general. And I don't know, it's all so complicated, man. Like, why do we compare ourselves? Like, what is it for? You know what I mean? Like, what is it for?